Yeah, we spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on investing in ourselves. And so, when it comes to getting into therapy or choosing a mentor or premarital counseling, things of that nature, I think it's the best investment that you can even make. A lot of times people want to go to therapy when something is wrong. But if people understand pain responses, it accounts for like 3% of the problem. Pain is the very last stage that you experience when there is a problem that's present. And so, I think being active in terms of staying on top of the quality of your relationship and investing in as much as you possibly can to any resource to ensure that, you all are set up for success, is important to answer Mistaken's point.
So then my question is, how come, well, a two-part question. What is the work that we need to do to get on the same page? And why aren't we doing the work so
So
we can get on the same page?
We
I
need to be listening to
each other.
understand each other and not listening just to respond. I think that's where so many miscommunications end up happening in friendships, relationships, in the courting stages of relationships, because they say one wrong thing that we don't agree with. It's like, oh, I'm not talking to him no more, or nope, she's canceled. I'm done with her. So I think just not being able to just throw the towel in anytime somebody doesn't agree with your point of view. We're all made different for a reason. So one of the solutions is, especially for women, we have to learn to listen. We have to be able to listen to understand. The men, they are not complex creatures. They aren't. We are the complex ones. So we have to be able to listen to men when they are voicing their simple needs, their simple wants. They want peace. And even though peace is subjective, you have to figure out, whichever person you're dealing with, what peace means to them, and figure out a way that you can accommodate them to bring them peace, and also it doesn't take away from who you are as a person.
So I would even take it a step, because I completely agree with what you're saying, Tam. We do need to listen, but I think also you need to give people a chance. I think the problem is, okay, you find peace when you find a mate, but half of y'all not finding mates because you're not giving men a chance. So I get that part, but you got to get to one part before you get to the other part. And so just going out, and I guess like the guy said, well, you had this stipulation that he's got to be so tall, or he's got to have this, he's got to have that, he's got to have that. If you keep looking for that unicorn, you're never gonna find the what's another word? An angel.
Superficial.
That what?
It's superficial. The
It's superficial. But, I'm not saying you
unicorn.
should definitely be attracted to your mate. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you shouldn't be picky.
No,
You can
you
have a
shouldn't.
preference, you have a standard, but you should not be picky. So picky to the point where you're never gonna find that guy. You're just not.
Do,
So you can't bring somebody peace if you don't have somebody to bring peace to.
do you think a
Also have to be
standard
a peaceful
should
person
be?
to be able to bring somebody peace. If you're not a peaceful person, how do you think you're going to be able to insert peace in someone else's life?
I
Most
think
people
that
are peaceful.
I think it's a misconception that someone else can bring you peace.
You have to
And I
be
hear this a lot when it comes to relationships. Oh, be his peace. Honey, if he ain't got no peace, you ain't gonna be it either. You know what I mean? People are responsible for themselves. And so at the end of the day, if you are at peace with yourself, and to answer your question, Mistaken, I truly believe that it's conflict resolution as it relates to interdependent relationships. And so, when we talk about not having peace, that is a state of dis-ease or conflict that an individual is experiencing. And so when someone is not at peace, or when you, let me say on the latter, when you have two individuals that come together and are both at a state of peace, the relationship, a peaceful relationship, is the byproduct of their individual, their
Individual peace. Right.
Exactly.
In themselves. Yeah.
Right. And so, we get stuck on not understanding how to coexist with other people. We're really in a day and age where, the individual self is prioritized beyond, interdependent relationships. And when you think about it, it's really to excel to interdependency, because we're, in this, we're human beings and we all rely, it's a network, we all rely on each other for, for everything, and so you want to claim independence, but that's really not what is to strive for. That's not the end all be all. It's learning how to coexist with other people and having those conflict resolution skills, which a lot of us in the Black community are not taught. We don't, these are skills that are taught. You're not born knowing how to Lauren's point, resolve conflict. And so, not seeing it, not hearing it, not experiencing it, and then, not even really seeing what a healthy interdependent relationship really looks like, really sets us up for failure. And so, we definitely at this stage in the game have a responsibility for ourselves to do better now that we have access to knowing better. But, I think it definitely starts there.
Do you think a standard, like, how we talked about standards, like what questions you should ask when you're dating and things like that? Do you think one of the standards, not just for women, for men, but vice versa, is to ask what work have you done in terms of self-improvement? Like, or have you been to counseling, or should we require therapy, as a standard? Just things like that to try to usher in a higher level of being able to, like you said, be interdependent with each other. Because if you don't have the skills, how do you learn it if you don't see it? You have to seek it.
So
When you look at these, go ahead, Tam.
Oh, no. So I just wanted to quickly just double back on the point that you just made. So I feel like that as an individual, we have different levels of happiness and peace that we have within ourselves. When you're alone, you're at peace with, your life that you have. You're at peace with your job. You're at peace with your home. So when I say bring peace into someone's lives, you're bringing peace in their life to a relationship standard. You're not taking away from the peace that they have already created for themselves within. You're adding. Nobody wants to get into a relationship where you feel like someone is taking from you. So if you already have that self peace within, yourself, and you're content and you're happy with things, you want people that's going to come in that's going to add to that. You don't want people that's going to come in and take from that. So if I'm already at peace with myself and I'm telling you these are the different things that I have peace with, and this is the level of requirement in a relationship that I would like to have peace in, then yes, you should be trying to, in my opinion, trying to add to that relationship level of peace where you're not disrupting that person's life, or them having you is a disruption in their life. You're always supposed to leave people, if you have to leave them, better than how you found them. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that. But then also too, in dating, yes, I think it is very important to be intentional up front and ask the tough questions that some people may not be ready to answer. So unfortunately, they may be like, oh, she weird or he's weird. I'm not about to answer any specific questions in regards to, any childhood trauma, or if I've ever been to therapy, if I'm at peace with that, if I've ever dealt with that. And they may say, no, she's weird or he's weird, so I'm not going to talk to them anymore. Then that's just not the person for you. But I feel like a person that's able to effectively communicate and be able to have intentional conversations and be intentional with dating, I don't think that's going to offend the right person that is for you. It's just what JR said, let's just have a conversation. Let's know what we need to know, what we're getting into before we get into it. That will save so many people so much heartache in the long run if you can.
Yeah, we spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on investing in ourselves. And so, when it comes to getting into therapy or choosing a mentor or premarital counseling, things of that nature, I think it's the best investment that you can even make. A lot of times people want to go to therapy when something is wrong, but if people understand pain responses, it accounts for like 3% of the problem. Pain is the very last stage that you experience when there is a problem that's present. And so, you know, I think being active in terms of staying on top of the quality of your relationship and investing in as much as you possibly can to any resource to ensure that, you know, you all are set up for success is important, to answer Ms. Dakin's point.